In addition to being a veteran of the armed services and a devoted father and husband, and possibly the greatest governor to ever serve in the Union, Ron DeSantis is also an author. Back in 2010, he wrote a book, Dreams from Our Founding Fathers, First Principles in the Age of Obama. In this video, I'm going to begin reading from this book. I have my own hardcover copy. They are very difficult to come by, so I thought as a service to my audience, I would allow folks to have an insight into the man that is leading Florida, our new republic. And after having read this book and absorbed this information, you will come away with a deeper understanding of what motivates the man. So without any further delay, we will start with the preface. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter, so help me God. This is the oath of office taken by commissioned officers in the United States Armed Forces, an oath I had taken for the first time in 2004, Ron DeSantis speaking here. When I received and accepted commission for active duty service in the United States Navy, and that I again took in early 2010 as I prepared to leave active duty service and assume duties as an officer in the Navy Reserve. When I took the oath in 2004, I was less concerned with the meaning of the oath itself than with the reality that I was leaving behind civilian life, that our nation was more heavily engaged in shooting wars overseas than at any point since Vietnam, and that I wanted to do what I could do to support the effort. By the time I took the oath for my reserve commission in 2010, I became intrigued with the primacy that the oath places on the Constitution. The oath does not pledge its taker to the defense of land owned and governed by the United States, or to the population of the American citizens, but instead to a particular form of government. Part of this fascination, no doubt, was due to the fact that I was taking the oath against the backdrop of a political environment in which the power of the federal government was being expanded beyond traditional limits. From assuming control of automobile companies to transmogrifying the nation's healthcare system, President Barack Obama and his congressional allies seem to be effectuating a self-described transformation of the American Republic, even in the face of what was at times overwhelming public disapproval. That these changes were being brought about by a political class that exhibited what I saw as an almost casual disregard for the Constitution further highlighted, in my mind, the centrality of the Constitution to the oath of office, especially since the Constitution has the same primacy in the oath taken by members of Congress. When the debate over the healthcare overhaul reached a feverish pitch, then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was asked by a reporter to identify the constitutional basis that authorized Congress to force citizens to purchase private health insurance, which is something without parallel in American history. Pelosi bristled with contempt at the mere notion that the Constitution might constrain her political ambitions. Quote, "Are you serious? Are you serious?" she asked, before shaking her head in disgust. She did not answer the question. Pelosi's incredulity about a question regarding basic constitutional power appears to be symptomatic of a larger malady of ignorance, afflicting a sizable chunk of elected officials. In late 2008, the results of a civics test administered by the Intercollegiate Studies Institute to members of the American public made minor headlines because the results suggested that a significant number of Americans lack a working knowledge of the Constitution, American history, and economics. The kicker, though, was that elected officials comprised the one identifiable group that scored substantially lower than the public as a whole. It is disturbing enough that the general public failed this civic literacy test, but when you consider the even more dismal scores of elected officials, you have to be concerned. How can political leaders make informed decisions if they don't understand the American experience? I soon started to question whether the nation's political leaders even take seriously their duty to support and defend the Constitution, an inclination to spend other people's money, a lust to control the lives of their fellow citizens, and a desire to perpetuate oneself in office are all characteristics of some of the most powerful political figures in the country. And it is easy to see how such figures could let these ignoble desires supplant a rigorous constitutional fidelity. With trillions of dollars of taxpayer money at the disposal of the political class, it seems like they consider the Constitution to be a quaint afterthought, a sometimes annoying impediment to their desire to redistribute the money of their fellow citizens and to engage in social engineering. What's more, President Obama came to office after having pledged to enact far-reaching changes in the foundations of American society. He styled himself a progressive, which summoned the ghosts of those early 20th century reformers who criticized the Founding Fathers and expressed contempt for the Constitution. Just as those progressives sought to reorient America's bedrock principles away from individual liberty and limited government and towards progressive central planning and a large administrative state, Obama seemed to be trying to reformulate our core operating principles in a way that furthered this progressive vision. Moving America towards a European-style bureaucratic leviathan undercuts the ethos of constitutionalism that the Founding Fathers bequeathed to us. By my lights, it will be sad indeed if the nation departs from the foundational principles that the Founders pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to establish. Ron DeSantis, July 2011. Part 1. Obama and the Return to First Principles. Chapter 1. Fundamental Transformation. When viewers tuned into CNBC on February 19, 2009, little did they know they were about to witness the beginning of one of the largest grassroots political movements in American history. The station's morning business show, Squawk Box, featured a discussion of a new home foreclosure policy proposed by the new presidential administration of Barack Obama, who, buttressed by a fawning press, was enjoying a smooth honeymoon period and high public approval ratings. Reporting from the floor of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, Rick Santelli was not buying the hype about Obama. Though few had publicly rebuked the popular new president, Santelli ripped Obama and his bailout policies for, quote, promoting bad behavior. According to Santelli, the federal government was rewarding financial irresponsibility with generous assistance, a perversion of incentives, and a punishment, in effect, of those who did not need a bailout due to making sound decisions. Receiving encouragement from a crowd of people on the trading floor, Santelli bellowed, "President Obama, are you listening?" Santelli argued that Obama's big spending policies, such as the $814 billion economic stimulus bill enacted earlier that month, were doomed to failure because you can't buy your way into prosperity, referencing the Keynesian economic theory that each dollar spent by the government expands the economy by more than a dollar. He said that if the multiplier that all of these Washington economists are selling us is over 1, then we never have to worry about the economy again. The government should spend $1 trillion an hour because we'll get $1.5 trillion back. Things seem to be getting out of hand, so out of hand that Santelli was, quote, thinking of having a Chicago Tea Party in July. All you capitalists that want to show up to Lake Michigan, I'm going to start organizing. Santelli cited the need to foster a return to first principles, because if you read our founding fathers, people like Benjamin Franklin and Jefferson, what we're doing in this country now is making them roll over in their graves. Santelli's on-air protest became an instant sensation. Within a week, the Santelli Tea Party video had been viewed several million times on the internet. At the time of the Santelli rant, there had not been much forceful public opposition to the Obama agenda. So his forthright statement became a rallying cry for those disenchanted with the implementation of change. At the same time, had Santelli's statement been nothing more than a knee-jerk anti-Obama diatribe, it is unlikely that it would have caught on in the manner that it did. Instead, by invoking the Founding Fathers against the unprecedented expansion of the federal government, Santelli raised concerns about the very nature of, quote, the change that Obama was advocating, namely, whether such change reaffirmed the nation's bedrock values or whether it represented a departure from them. The Tea Party movement that soon spread throughout the country represented a powerful political force, but the fact that such a movement even developed was, at least at the time, surprising. For one thing, Barack Obama was not billed as a typical politician. As the first African American candidate to be elected president, he was already considered to be an historical figure. He seemed to epitomize the type of leader that could transcend old divisions and serve as a unifying force in government. Indeed, Obama implicitly marketed his presidential candidacy as one dedicated to a post-racial America, to the idea that he proclaimed to the 2004 DNC convention, in the speech that catapulted him to the national prominence, quote, "There's not a black America and white America and Latino America and Asian America. There's the United States of America." This was peculiarly a candidate-centered appeal. Only Obama, as the son of a mother from Kansas and a father from Kenya, so the theory went, could deliver America to its post-racial nirvana. Obama's electoral victory represented a triumph of the American notion that one's potential for achievement is limited only by one's talent, initiative, and determination. The specter of the President-elect Obama striding onto the stage in Chicago's Grant Park on election night to give his victory speech stood as a powerful symbol of the possibilities of the American experiment. He told the crowd his election was, quote-unquote, the answer to anyone out there who still doubts that America is a place where all things are possible, who still wonders if the dream of our founders is alive in our time. Obama's political rise was historically meteoric. In the span of little more than 4 years, he moved seamlessly from the obscurity of the Illinois legislature to the keynote speech at the 2004 Democratic National Convention, and then from a short, undistinguished tenure in the U.S. Senate to the President-elect of the United States. On the surface, Obama did not seem to be a polarizing figure like his most recent predecessors, Bill Clinton and George W. Bush. Beginning with his 2004 DNC address, Obama consistently pitched himself as an oracle of post-partisan bliss, an enlightened statesman that eschewed what he considered to be tired debates and worn-out dogmas. In this respect, Obama was less like Ronald Reagan, whose appeal rested on unwavering convictions to limit government at home and defeat communism abroad, and ironically, given Obama's educational and professional background, more like the great military leaders such as Dwight Eisenhower, who won the presidency based on their personal attributes. Just as most voters in 1952 could agree that they liked Ike, even if they couldn't agree why they did, so too in 2008 could most voters agree that they wanted change they could believe in, even if most couldn't agree what that meant. Irrespective of any political program, as the first African American nominee of a major political party, Obama was change, a vessel for the hopes and dreams of Americans from all walks of life. The media attention that greeted his election and inauguration was predictably euphoric. Part of this, no doubt, stemmed from the newsworthiness of Obama breaking the presidential color barrier. The fact that he attained the presidency against the longest of odds. He was the lowly freshman senator who defeated the heavily favored former First Lady and Senator Hillary Clinton in a spirited primary, also added to the Obama aura. Another important factor was the undeniable fact that Obama's political orientation represented the type of elite brand of progressive politics that magnetically attracted political journalists inside the Washington-New York axis. This was made clear in comic fashion when MSNBC's liberal talk show host Chris Matthews noted that he, quote, felt this thrill going up his leg when he heard Barack Obama give a primary night victory speech. I think we'll go ahead and stop there at page 3. So this was the beginning. Some have said that they have not seen this country so divided as it is right now. I would take folks back to the Florida Bush-Gore election debacle. And afterwards, when Bush took office and all of the vitriol and all of the hate, it really started 20 years ago. It started back with Bush. And then the Tea Party after Obama, and then Trump, and now this. So anyway, we will continue at a future date with the rest of Chapter 1 and get into Chapter 2. So this is just a window into Governor Ron DeSantis and his thinking. God bless. Have a great night. Like, share, subscribe, and we might see you tonight on Twitch.